Hello and welcome to the Dits on Wrestling podcast. We are hitting episode 16 today, which means we're 4 months in. That is mental. We are 4 months since I started this thing. That is insane. And it's quite fitting that we hit that 4-month point, and we have so much wrestling to cover today. So we got NXT TakeOver, we got SummerSlam, we got Raw, SmackDown. Yeah, that's it. That's a lot of wrestling in the grand scheme of things. I mean, there's the G1 happened as well, the final this week, but as you have probably gathered, having listened to this podcast for the amount of time that you have up to this point, I'm not a big follower of New Japan. Not because I don't want to. I'd love to get on the New Japan train. It would be a hell of a lot of fun, but there's just too much wrestling. There's too much wrestling for me to sink my teeth into every week. And, WWE is arguably the most popular. It's the most mainstream one. So that's what I like to get covered on the show. So that is obviously what I go to. But at some point, I will get into New Japan. And, of course, AEW coming up in the next couple of months as well. I'll be trying to cover that as well. But, hey, the show has evolved over the last couple of episodes, so why not throw New Japan and AEW in there? Just a whole segment dedicated to those two promotions, as well as WWE. But that's for the future. We're looking at today's episode, and oh my god, what a great weekend of wrestling it was. Obviously, we had Raw and SmackDown as well, which we'll get into later, but NXT and SummerSlam, I usually don't really cover them in great detail, but I'm going to give them some time today because, well, NXT TakeOver is always a good show. Always a good show. And I actually really enjoyed SummerSlam as well. So we're going to get those covered as well. And, yeah, great week. Great week for wrestling. And to top it off, this has got absolutely nothing to do with the world of wrestling. This is just for me. But you might have seen over on Twitter my current profile picture, or over on Instagram. That's right, I'm on Instagram these days, so go check that out. But my wife did something absolutely incredible for me this week. I was at work on Monday, and I came home to find my man cave, which is where I do all my recording, was just bare. And I mean bare. There's nothing on the walls. I mean, just moved into the house. We've been here, for nearly a year now, but there's literally nothing on the walls in the man cave. And I walk in, and what greets me is a massive hand-painted logo. My logo. Just hand-painted on the wall. Amazing stuff. She's an incredible woman. And it's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's just added something to this. This means that I can never stop doing the podcast. It would pretty much be a slap in the face to her. But no, it's really, really good. You should check it out because it's awesome. But less of my jibber jabber. Let's start talking about NXT TakeOver and SummerSlam. We've got a big guest coming on for Raw and SmackDown later.
Boris, it's us, not them.
What does that mean?
You did it. We did it. We got through.
What does that? I do not like that. I told you do not do that to them. That is not right.
Well, we blocked the other call. It's us, Boris. We're on the show again.
I told you this is very bad. The Dits should punch you in the face. That is very right.
And I will punch you in the face. I've hacked into your hack, buddy. I've got you.
Whoa, this is a lot. This is not Boris.
This is very good. This is what you deserve. You are a sniveling coward jerk, and you break on the show. That is what you deserve.
Whoa, I wasn't expecting this. This was totally by accident. Honest to God, sorry. I think we're in the wrong spot, actually, Boris. We should be on a different show, right?
No, you are caught like a little turd. That is very right. Dits, you tell him. You tell him now.
If you have the balls to break into my show, the least you can do is hang around and put your money where your mouth is, fella.
Well,
He has no balls. Do not ever even think for a second.
Boris, stop it. All right. Well, wow. I never truly expected you to let us even on, to be quite honest.
I didn't let you on. You snuck on without my knowledge. But I've sorted the security out on my end. I'm a fucking genius. I've caught you. But if you think that you can hang on this show and do it some justice, come and do the Raw and Smackdown highlights with me.
He cannot. He is a moron.
Boris, I can absolutely. I am so happy that you invited me on your show to do this. That is fantastic.
He did not. You are a jerk. Do not say he invited you. He did not invite you anywhere.
Well, actually, Boris, he just did. He invited both of us to join him for the Raw and Smackdown highlights. That is awesome. We're there. We'll do it.
It'll be sink or swim, and I hope that it's the former.
Me too. He's a jerk. I do not like him at all.
All right. This is going to be awesome.
So the first person, or should I say people, that I'm sharing my Raw and SmackDown highlights segment with, I've been solo this entire time, but the first people that I'm sharing it with is Boris and Bart. These two absolute clowns. God. I'm going to have to mentally prepare myself for that. Seriously. Okay, that's later on. Let's just forget that's happening for now, and let's talk about NXT. Name one bad TakeOver show. I'll give you 3 seconds. You can't think of one. Because there isn't one. It's always consistent. NXT takeovers are just brilliant. I mean, the worst quality you're going to get from an NXT takeover is decent. You're going to get a decent match. That's the worst you can expect from a takeover. And obviously the best is, borderline perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect wrestling match, but it's borderline perfect, which is unbelievable. There's a reason why people see NXT as, not the casual side of WWE, because saying that it's not even a niche. It's not even a niche thing, because a casual fan can watch NXT and get something out of it. But it just seems to be, a little bit of a divide, which is fine by me. If people just want to watch the main roster stuff, and just be completely oblivious to the fact that there's something amazing going on in Full Sail every single week, and then, the takeovers when they happen. Whatever. Be your own person. That's fine. But just check out TakeOver. Just pick one. Just pick any of them, and just go, right, I'm going to watch that one, and you'll not be disappointed. Just like this Saturday, NXT TakeOver Toronto. Not disappointing in the slightest. Now, caveat, before we go into this, I was half asleep for the majority of the show, and I haven't rewatched it. And as you know, by listening to this, you know that I'm a very forgetful guy, and I find it hard to remember stuff, which is why I always write things down. I haven't written anything down, so this is all off memory. So you got to bear with me. But, I was half watching it and just half trying to keep awake during it. And that's not because it was a bad show, because it was not. What I saw was fantastic, but the week caught up on me, and I hit like midnight, and I was already struggling. Half an hour in, the tag match took it out of me. Street Profits versus Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, Undisputed Era tag team titles. Takeovers always start with tag team title matches, and you can see why. Every single tag team title match that they've had on a takeover, when they've started the show with that match, it sets the bar, and it sets it feckin' high. It really does. I actually cannot remember, like I've said, a tag title match starting the show that's been bad. This followed suit. It really did. It was hard hitting. there was just so much going on. The Street Profits managed to shine. I think they weren't tag team champions at the time. It was back when the Viking Raiders were still in NXT, and they had a match against them, and they absolutely shone. And that won me over when they faced them for the titles. And fast forward to now. And we had the ladder match at the last TakeOver. They've really, really upped their game. And let's forget the main roster stuff that they've got them doing at the moment, because I'm not a big fan of that. But what they've got doing in NXT right now, solid matches all the time. Good God. Put them against the Undisputed Era. Magic. And it was. Am I surprised at the result? I am very, very surprised at the result. I did not expect the Street Profits to retain, but hey, they did. And the prophecy of Adam Cole and Undisputed Era holding all the gold took a blow in the first match of the night. It was a great match. And then I believe we went into Candice versus Io Shirai. I might be wrong, but it doesn't matter. What a great match. Unbelievable match. It was my favorite women's match of the entire weekend. And it had Trish and Charlotte to compete with, which is obviously going to be covered after this. But what a great match it was. Really, really good. Candice, I can't believe this is Candice's first NXT TakeOver match. She's appeared on TakeOvers, I hate to say it, but she's just appeared on TakeOvers as, Johnny's wife. But now, when I'm saying that, no, she did appear on a TakeOver when Io Shirai was against Shayna Baszler, and she came down with a kendo. Yep, she cleaned house, which actually started this whole thing leading into this match. So, but I can't believe it's her first match on an NXT TakeOver, and this was her coming out party. Like, Candice was fantastic in her role as the ultimate underdog, which she is known for being incredible at. But look at Io Shirai. This new heel persona has just upped her game so much. Like, she was great as a baby face, with the mask and all that kind of stuff. But look at her now. Like, she is, you could argue that there is no better female wrestler on the planet. And I'm completely genuine in saying that. She is unreal. And she proved it on Saturday. And she will continue to prove it until she wins that NXT title, which she will in the very near future, I am sure, before Vince gets his grubby hands all over her. But no, what a great match. Candice kicked out the moonsault, which forced Shirai into using a submission, and won that way. So there's another edge to the character. Great stuff. Triple threat for the North American title. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Come on. Pete Dunne, Velveteen Dream, Roddy Strong. That's a cocktail for perfection. But I didn't get this one right. I said Roddy Strong was going to win it. Purely because I did believe that Undisputed Era would walk away with all the gold coming out of this. And yeah, I was wrong. Velveteen Dream retained, which, if somebody was going to win, Velveteen Dream was going to be the last person that I would pick. It was Strong, Pete Dunne, Dream. But I'm not going to complain. The guy had an amazing entrance with the Toronto Raptors dance squad, or whatever the hell they are. He's been a great champion so far. He will continue to be a great champion. And as long as he is champion, he's less likely to appear on the main roster, where he will probably go down the route of what Tyler Breeze ended up doing and just slipping away into obscurity, which is not something that the Dream deserves. Fact. But no, the match itself, really, really good, really fast-paced, some really cool spots in it, of course. Pete Dunne took the fall, which I thought was a little bit strange, considering they've just brought him up to NXT proper, I believe. I think this is where he's going to be doing most of his stuff now, rather than NXT UK. So I was shocked that he took the fall, but I mean, he took like 16 finishes before he took the pin. So I guess he's protected in some way. But great match. Really looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to where all three guys end up going after this, especially Pete Dunne, because I might be biased, but it's great to see somebody from the UK smashing it in NXT. But Dream, who faces him next? Interesting. There's so many people down in NXT that can rise up. Maybe one of the what is that tournament called? The Breakout Tournament? I think I don't know. It could be that. Maybe one of them guys will choose to face Velveteen Dream as part of winning that tournament. It would be odd. I'd go for the NXT title. You would, but someone might decide that they want to go for the North American title. What if they decided to go for the NXT Tag Team Championships? How would that work? Because it's any title. Would they need to find a tag team partner? Or would they just go solo? Who knows? And Roddy Strong, obviously is part of the whole Undisputed Era storyline that we've got going on. So he'll definitely feed into whatever they've got going on next. But no, as a match, it was really, really good. Now, this next match, Baszler against Mia Yim, I probably watched about 2 minutes of it, if I'm being completely honest. And again, it's not because, the match quality was poor or any of that kind of stuff. I was exhausted at this point. So I kept falling asleep, waking up and going, oh, yeah, NXT TakeOver is still on. But from what I'm hearing, it wasn't as good as it could have been. Like they faced off in the Mae Young Classic a few years ago. And if I remember rightly, they put on a pretty good match. But what I'm seeing so far, I haven't rewatched TakeOver, and I do fully intend on watching TakeOver again, just to make up for the fact that I was half asleep. But yeah, from what I've seen, people have said it was slow. The pacing was off. It wasn't fluid. It wasn't flowing well. Lots of negatives coming out of it. Which is a shame. It is a shame because obviously this is Mia Yim's first little spot at the top of the women's division, and I wouldn't say that she blew it, but a good showing would have stood her in really good stead moving on. But it is, it is what it is. You're never going to knock it out of the park, all the time. And I think as much as I like Shayna Baszler, keeping the title on her, I think will always, it'll always factor into the match quality, going into every takeover that she is the champion. And again, it's nothing to do with Baszler, because I think Baszler is great. But I think it takes a certain opponent for her to face, to get a really great match out of. And Mia Yim on Saturday, unfortunately, just wasn't that person. But, I mean, hopefully we'll see the end of Baszler's reign, because I think it's time for somebody else to step up. And there's plenty of women down there who are more than capable. Candice, Bianca, Mia Yim herself. Yeah, so many options. Absolutely so many options. I mean, I'd stopped at 3, but there are loads down there. There are loads. It just needs to stop. I've enjoyed Baszler's run, but you get off the horse whilst you're in a good position. You don't want people to remember your reign as just being, a terrible plodding mess. You don't need that. End it on a high. So next takeover, take the belt off her. Done. Oh God, here we go. The main event Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, 2 out of 3 falls. It was always going to go to the third fall, the third stipulation, and I did see, some pictures of people in the crowd, shots of something under a black curtain. You knew it was going to be a cage. It was going to be a cage, but good God, you didn't expect it to be a cage strapped with weapons and fire extinguishers and barbed wire, and oh my God, Regal pulled it out the bag. But that was the third fall. We had a straight up match. Did we? Yeah, we had a straight up match to start the show. And Johnny got himself DQ'd, which was odd. I understand why he did it, kind of, so he could literally just go into beating the crap out of him in the street fight side of things, but it seemed like an odd decision to make. But I'm not Johnny, so I don't book NXT either, so I can't give you any more insight than that, but it seemed like a very silly thing to do. But it was fun the way he went about it. So Cole picked up the win in that one, with a DQ, and then Johnny obviously picked up the win in the second fall. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, that cage match was unreal. So enjoyable. I mean, people are going to complain that how are they kicking out of all this stuff, but I don't care. Like, just switch off and just enjoy what you're seeing. So many really cool spots. It was great to see some brass knuckles in there. Obviously, William Regal's concocted this madness of a gimmick match, and adding all these layers to the cage. It was nice to see some brass knucks thrown in there as well. There's a little nod to him. I enjoyed that. I like stuff like that. The finish itself, I'm all for it. Johnny looked strong coming out of it. I mean, it was insane. Like, as soon as those 2 tables were set up, he's like, something is going to happen here. Johnny was trying to rip Adam Cole's face off. And why would you do such a thing? He's a handsome man. Leave him alone. And then they fell onto the tables, and then Adam Cole just rolled onto him and picked up the W. And yeah, what a great match. All 3 of them were very, very good. But that closes out Cole and Gargano's story. It looks like Johnny is moving on. He got the thank you Johnny chants. So maybe he's going to the main roster. We don't know. I'm actually recording this before SmackDown, so if he appears on SmackDown, then there you go, he's on SmackDown. But he didn't appear on Raw, so there's that. But the actual show as a whole, again, very, very, very good. That I always find it's the Baszler match that is the letdown on the show. It was decent from what I saw. And, I mean, some people are saying it's decent. A lot of people are crapping all over it, but there are people saying it was decent. So Baszler's match was really the only low point for me on the whole card. But what more could you expect from a TakeOver? Really, really solid show. And I cannot wait for the next one. And I'm not sure when that is. I think, it's probably about a month and a half away. Well, technically, the next TakeOver is NXT UK in Cardiff, which I am going to, and I'm fucking excited to go. But actual NXT-wise, maybe Survivor Series. Maybe the TakeOver before then. That's ages away, though. There's got to be one before that. Who knows? But NXT is awesome. It will build incredibly well into that event, I am sure. But that was NXT TakeOver. And now it's time to talk about SummerSlam. And I don't have just a generic segue / jingle / whatever you want to call it going into SummerSlam. I have something else. Check this out.
It's SummerSlam! The wait, the anticipation is over. Now it's time to feel the heat.
It's SummerSlam, I'm starting to wave, hitting the ring, making a save, waiting waiting for too long, I ain't getting pinned. Feeling like the ultimate warrior unhinged. Wilding out, shaking the ropes, evoking the crowd, start taking some notes. Trendsetter, leading the room, riding out on motorcycles like the Legion of Doom. And if you new around here, I'ma teach you a move. It's called the sweet chin music and you about to eat too. People wanna test my cool. The next thing you know, they wanna rep my crew. We the new age outlaws. Y'all need to get out more. You're starting to bore us, it's time to ignore you. And if you ain't done with that, we got 2 words for you. SummerSlam. Biggest party of the summer, man. I'm wondering how they skip me and pick a cover band. SummerSlam. Biggest party of the summer, man. I'm wondering how they skip me and pick a cover band. It's gonna be a summer to remember. Fighting off any number 1 contender. It's easy to become a main eventer, but to stay on top is a challenge altogether. It's gonna be a summer to remember. Fighting off any number 1 contender. It's easy to become a main eventer, but to stay on top is a challenge altogether. If you fighting a beast, better be brave. It's 100 degrees in a heat wave. Some would say it's the perfect storm, and it's guaranteed that he retains that suplex on time. F5, not for play. Be careful picking a fight at the wrong time, wrong place. It's a new day, new challenge. 3 titles, those boys valid. Tag champs, world champ, full of talent. That's the perfect balance. And if we talking phenomenal, I'm talking AJ Styles, 450, Styles Clash. Damn, he's versatile. SummerSlam. Biggest party of the summer, man. I'm wondering how they skip me and pick a cover band. SummerSlam. Biggest party of the summer, man. I'm wondering how they skip me and pick a cover band. It's gonna be a summer to remember. Fighting off any number 1 contender. It's easy to become a main eventer, but to stay on top is a challenge altogether. It's gonna be a summer to remember. Fighting off any number 1 contender. It's easy to become a main eventer, but to stay on top is a challenge altogether.
That was Ant Won't Stop with SummerSlam 2019. I feel like a little bit of a radio DJ right now. That was Ant Won't Stop with his latest single, SummerSlam 2019. Stay tuned for Depeche Mode and S Club 7. Wow. Imagine a radio station that played both Depeche Mode and S Club 7. Wow. Make that thing happen. There's got to be a radio station out there that would do that. Maybe I'll start it. Maybe we'll turn this into a radio station rather than a wrestling podcast. Boom. Done. But no, great track. Very good track. He's also done tracks for WrestleMania this year, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam last year, WrestleMania last year. All good stuff. Yeah. Go check that out. It is available on iTunes. You can stream it on Spotify, Google as well. And as a little bonus for me and for you, the listeners, I will be getting him on in a future episode, and we're going to be talking all about wrestling theme tunes. So there you go. But that was Ant Won't Stop with SummerSlam 2019. I tried to get him on last week, but unfortunately timings didn't work out. The track, I mean. But I'm doing a SummerSlam recap, so it's still very, very much relevant. So yeah, SummerSlam, baby. Biggest party of the summer. I really, really enjoyed it. I really did. And, you know, there's quite a big crowd saying that it was okay. There was obviously some enjoyable matches, you know, throughout the night, but I was entertained from the get-go, to be honest. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to cover the entire show because, like, we'll be here forever. But what I will say about SummerSlam, which was perfect for me, and any person in the UK listening to this right now will completely relate to me. It was originally stated to finish at 5 a.m. 5 a.m. And I get up for work at 6:30 in the morning, so I would have had probably an hour's sleep, if that. And yeah, I would have been a walking zombie. I would have been zombie Ditz on Monday morning. And I was zombie Ditz, despite the fact that SummerSlam finished a little bit earlier. So I managed to get a bit more sleep. I think it finished about 3:30 in the morning, our time here in the UK. which is still crazy. But hell, life of a wrestling fan living in the United Kingdom. There you go. But that was a nice little perk. I enjoyed that. But the actual show itself, yeah, really enjoyed it. Some very, very strong matches. I'm not going to cover the pre-show because, again, I'll be here forever. But we did see some storyline development on the pre-show, which was nice, with Buddy Murphy, Eric Rowan. And actually, I will say something about the pre-show because we saw Edge on the pre-show. And we saw Edge get physical. He speared Elias. He speared him. I didn't think he was even able to do any of that kind of stuff anymore. But there you go. He speared him. So obviously you're going to get everybody going nuts saying, one more match. And he'd probably die if that was the case. I'm sure he can, knock out a spear every now and then. And he's proved it by doing that to Elias on Sunday. Enjoyed that. That was one of my favorite moments from SummerSlam. The crowd obviously went mental. Edge, hometown. But yeah, absolutely incredible moment. Really, really good. Set the tone really for me. I thought as soon as I saw that, I was excited for SummerSlam, and I was ready for it. And that is probably down to the theme tune for Edge. Metalingus, All Bridge, great wrestling theme, so good. If I could have that as my theme song for this podcast, I would have it in a heartbeat. Absolutely. That's pre-show. That's pre-show stuff. The main show itself, we had Becky and Natalya kicking things off in the submission match. It was a lot better than I actually thought it was going to be. It wasn't outstanding, but I like the submission match side of things. I like the fact it just wasn't just a straight up match, because you get sharpshooters in the ropes, and they were quite inventive in what they were doing. And of course, the right person won. Becky came out on top, but it was a strong showing at the start of the show. Set things off in the right direction, I think. Some hate towards Becky, but that was to be expected, with it being Natty's home country of Canada. So I wouldn't worry about that. A lot of people are saying people have turned their backs on Becky. No, they haven't. She just happened to be facing somebody who is from Canada. It's black and white. It's as simple as that. But no, really fun match. Enjoyed it. Then I wasn't actually going to talk about it, but the more I think about it, it was actually one of my favorite, parts of SummerSlam, and that was Goldberg and Ziggler. It was always going to be a squash. Always going to be a squash. So when I actually saw the super kicks right at the start, I thought, oh, hang on a minute. We might be getting something here. And then we didn't. No, we just had the squash, spear, jackhammer, pin. But now we have Dolph Ziggler, giving people shit from, after the match. He did it again on Raw with The Miz. He called out Goldberg and say, you don't have the balls to face me like a man, and just completely taunting him, asking for more punishment. Don't be saying that to Goldberg, man. He came back down, speared him again. And by the way, these spears looked absolutely incredible, and that has a lot to do with Dolph and his amazing selling. Like, it looked like he died. It really did, especially that third spear. It's an oversell, but it's an incredible oversell. It looked absolutely devastating. But I enjoyed that whole segment, even if Goldberg had just come down, done his stuff, and then that was it. Won the match and went. I would have enjoyed that, because that is the Goldberg that we all know and love. Okay, some people don't love him, but we're using a phrase. But then we had the other stuff with Ziggler, and yeah, blah blah, good stuff. Now, Taker had his shot at redemption at Extreme Rules, following that Saudi mess. So I'm happy for Goldberg that he had the chance to redeem himself at SummerSlam, and I think he did. If this was the last time that we see Goldberg wrestle in a WWE ring. He's gone out on a high, as far as I'm concerned. Like, he couldn't have done any more. Good on him, is all I'm going to say. Good on him. Now, this is where it gets tricky for me, trying to remember the rest of the card. AJ Styles versus Ricochet, US title. I actually really enjoyed that match. And I hate referencing, social media and what everybody thinks. But I think, this day and age, it's just kind of normality. So what I've seen on social media from other fans is that they didn't really enjoy the match, or didn't enjoy it as much as they hoped they would, because Ricochet was grounded for a lot of the match, and they just think the whole selling at the leg thing. Don't do it. Just give us the best possible match that we can have with AJ and Ricochet. And I understand that. I completely understand that. But for me, hitting this point, we'd had 2-3 matches between the two of them. So this was either the third or the fourth match. We've seen good stuff between the two of them. We've had a match on pay-per-view already between the two of them, I think. Was that Extreme Rules? Probably. But we have had plenty of matches where we've had the high flying elements, Ricochet's superhero stuff, just unbelievable athleticism that he is just renowned for. So I was glad they went a different route with this, because it added a layer of story to the match, and I love a story being told in a match. Obviously, we had one of my favorite spots of the night was Ricochet jumping on the shoulders of both Gallows and Anderson and then hitting a Hurricanrana on AJ on the outside. I loved that spot. So we did have something. But the targeting of the leg, it was smart from AJ. Really, really smart. Just ground him. Like, I don't care that we didn't get, the high-flying Ricochet, because it fed into the story, and it fed into the story really nicely. We had a one-legged springboard, which was impressive as hell, and then obviously the I can't remember what move it was. I'm just going to say flip. It was a flip right at the end of the match, which AJ countered into a Styles Clash, which was awesome, by the way. Really cool counter. I like that side of things. I like a story being told in the match, and I think that was told perfectly with Ricochet selling his leg. And a lot of people didn't really get that, which is a shame. But like I've said this for a number of weeks now, just switch off. Just see the match. Just watch what is in front of you. Just take it for what it is. Don't try and overthink it. And like I said, we've had the high-flying stuff between the two of them. So it was nice to have, a different kind of match between the two of them. Could it have been better? Of course it could have been better. Because you throw in Ricochet's, mental offense, then it just adds more and more to any match that he's a part of. But I liked this, that they went a different route with it. And AJ retained. Was it the right thing to do? Yes, it was, because he's got the whole OC thing going on, and yeah, it would have been too soon to be dropping belts. And that goes for the tag titles as well, which aren't defended on this show, and weren't defended on the pre-show either. In fact, no tag team titles, male anyway, was defended on the show, which was strange. But there you go. Christ, this is... Yeah, we're hitting territory where I'm 3 matches in, and I've already forgotten the whole card. What else did we have? I need a co-host. He'd help me out right now. Trish. We'll talk about that. Trish and Charlotte. Very, very good. Did we expect anything less of these two? Arguably the best of their respective eras. And they really, really pulled it off. And like I said, when I was talking about NXT TakeOver, I thought Shirai and Candice LeRae's match was the best women's match of the weekend. I stand by that. But Trish and Charlotte was a very close second. It was. And Trish looked really, really good. She bumped a lot for Charlotte, and she looked really, really good in doing it. The right result as well. Charlotte winning. Trish had no right to win that match. She really, she said it's her last match. They always go out on their back, supposedly, and that's what she did for Charlotte. Charlotte looked $1 million coming out of it, and so did Trish. To be fair, Trish did really well considering she hasn't really wrestled. She hasn't wrestled in 7 years, if you're going to believe the announce team. But she did wrestle last year at Evolution. But no, really good match. Really, really good match. And I'm actually going to rewatch it as well because it was around this point when I was starting to get really tired. So I don't think I appreciate it as much as I could have. So I will actually go back and rewatch that again. And I'm really excited to do so as well. Christ, what else did we have? Kofi and Randy, yeah, that was, it was disappointing actually. Kofi and Randy. I thought it was going to be a lot better, given their whole backstory, and the finish was terrible. Have a decisive finish. I don't care if the feud continues, because a feud can just because you have a clean decisive finish doesn't mean you can't continue a feud. So this double count out nonsense, or was it a DQ? Who do you even knows? The crowd didn't like it. I didn't like it. I thought it was a silly way to do things, and hopefully things are rectified. As we go on. But yeah, it was a disappointing match between them two. Christ, what else did we have, guys? What else did we have? God, I mean, I'm actually just realizing how many titles weren't defended on this show. We didn't have the IC title and the 2 tag team belts. Technically, the 24/7 title wasn't defended, but we can forgive it for that. Christ almighty. I'm just going to go with the top 2 because I can't remember anyone else, which is really, really bad. Brock Lesnar, and I am going to go for this because, the other thing is absolutely incredible. But Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins, whoa. Did not expect that result. Really, really didn't. I had Brock Lesnar. I would have put my mortgage on Brock Lesnar winning that match. But Seth overcame it. And he not only did he overcome Brock, but he overcame the crowd. He was getting boos to start the thing off. And yeah, I mean, people have soured on Seth, in recent weeks because of his promos and the way he's projected himself on social media. I mean, he's been making some very questionable decisions recently regarding social media. The Baron Corbin feud, the Becky stuff, yeah, people soured, and people soured quickly. Obviously, people were mad at WrestleMania for him defeating Brock in the first place, but going from there to the start of this match, night and day. Really, it was night and day. But then come the end of the show, people were loving him. Burn it down chants. Everyone was going nuts. So I'm happy for him. I'm glad he got that moment. I'm very shocked that he managed to win the Universal title. Brock only held that thing for a month, which is it's unreal, considering it's Brock Lesnar, who doesn't seem to do that kind of stuff. And he's not getting a rematch either, which is interesting, because what does Brock do next? But yeah, the match was really good. Seth sold, Brock's offense. Of course he did. And yeah, he got in a lot of offense himself as well. He got the frog splash through the table, quite a few stomps, super kicks aplenty. It was very impressive. Very, very impressive. But yeah, he picked up the win, and hopefully this second run with the Universal title will be a good one. No Baron Corbin's. I actually didn't mind the Baron Corbin feud, to be fair, but not over 3 pay-per-views. God, no. Let's not be doing that again. Let's give him something good. And then, oh my God, I could literally just do a whole podcast episode on this one thing alone. But Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, that entrance the match itself, I mean, this is something that I've been worried about for such a long time, how this whole thing would look when he finally got in the ring, and I was not disappointed. I was not disappointed. It was incredible. The entrance with the old Bray Wyatt head as a lantern, the remix of his old theme, the lighting, the let him in, the look, the atmosphere. Oh, Jesus! It was it was unbelievable. I will run out of words to describe it. It was so good. And then actually in ring, he still did a little bit of the Bray stuff from before, but with a little twist. He snapped Finn's neck at one point. That could have been the finish of the match. Really good. Don't try this at home, kids. But then he finished off with a mandible claw. So that is officially part of Bray Wyatt's arsenal. Or the Fiend's arsenal, at least. So maybe if Funhouse Bray gets in there, he'll stick with the Sister Abigail. But the Fiend, for sure, is going to whip that claw out as a finisher. Yeah. Unbelievable. And it exceeded expectation. And that is very, very rare when you can say that in WWE, that they have exceeded expectations. And boy, oh boy, did they do that with Bray. Unbelievable. So good. That was my highlight of SummerSlam. I mean, you go on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. A lot of stuff you're seeing is The Fiend. Why? Because it was awesome. Simple as that. Now, I know there was a lot of other matches on SummerSlam, and I just can't remember what they were. And I don't know. It is what it is. I'm forgetful. But that was SummerSlam. I actually, like I said, I really, really enjoyed the show. And I've enjoyed WWE a lot, for the last 2 months now. So I'm in a good place when it comes to WWE. Some people will just never be, they will never just let themselves enjoy what WWE spew out, because it's the cool thing to do is to hate WWE. But you got to give credit where it's due. They have really turned things around in the last couple of months. Maybe that is the Paul Heyman and Bischoff effect. Who knows? But they kind of had to as well. Ratings are down, and they still are a little bit low. I say a little bit low, very low. But at least the product that I'm watching, I mean, personally, I don't give a crap about the ratings. I just like watching wrestling. So for me, I'm glad that they've turned, just completely turned, done a 180, sorted some stuff out. There's still issues, of course there are, but ultimately they're heading in the right direction, which is the main thing. But no, SummerSlam, another pay-per-view in the bag. I don't know what's next. Clash of Champions, I think. So hopefully they can keep on this momentum, this run of good shows, because I've enjoyed the last couple of pay-per-views as well. So fingers crossed. But that was SummerSlam, which unfortunately means I have to go and get those two idiots from the Super Short Report on my show. It's good. This is going to be interesting. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be interesting. So here we go. Let's get into the Raw highlights with Boris and Bart.
Welcome to Monday Night Raw!
So it always seems like we're going to get a mixed bag when it comes to Raws after a major pay-per-view. It's always hit or miss. And that goes for the go-home shows as well. You never know what you're going to get. It's either going to be absolutely fantastic, building that momentum up before the pay-per-view, or it just flat out sucks. And speaking of sucks, here's Boris and Bart joining me for the Raw highlights today, and it's very reluctant, but Guys.
That's right. He is talking about you for the suck. You suck bad.
All right. Jeez, oh man. Hey, you invited us, so let's see what we can do here.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, guys. This is going to be very, very interesting, especially you, Bart. I don't think me and you are going to get on. But for the sake...
I hear that all the time from so many different people. It's unbelievable, especially Boris, honestly.
I have been saying that to him for a very, very long time. That's very true.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. So I will try and remain professional for the sake of this podcast to get on with you. Boris, we're good. Bart, we are not.
Well, I hope I can turn that around by the end of this. It doesn't normally happen that way. People end up hating me a little bit more after they talk to me.
That is very true.
Well, we'll see what happens. But I can promise you this. I can bring more knowledge in it.
That is a lie. Do not even say that. Do not even start.
Right. So my first highlight of Raw is Samoa Joe returning to his heel persona once again. We had him have a little bit of humanity when Reigns nearly died by getting hit by a car, and we saw Samoa Joe kind of seeing a little bit of a babyface twinge, not completely, but he was calling for a medic. He was concerned about Roman's welfare, which was nice. Samoan buddies.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. I don't want to see Samoa.
Do not. That is not right. Samoa Joe. This Joe Smo, he's very nice. It was very good.
Dude, but he's not nice. That's the thing. You don't want to see Samoa Joe being nice.
Well, the big dog, he was very hurt. It looked very bad when the car almost killed him. That was very scary.
Well, I know that you don't like when I say this, but the big dog.
Do not say the big dog. You are not allowed to say the words the big dog ever again.
Oh my gosh. Boris has this problem with the fact that I booed the big dog before he got sick, and now...
That is right. You boo the dog, and then after he is ill, you want to be nice and cheer the dog. That is not right. You are not allowed to say the words the big dog. You can follow the... Here is what you do.
All right, Boris, let's move on. This isn't our show.
No, you shut your mouth. Here's what you do. You can walk around in the yard with the dog.
No, please don't.
Yes, that's right. He can sniff out a spot for you fans who want to cheer for him now.
No, Boris, please. This is a family show.
No, it is not. He can crouch himself down.
All right, please. Enough. Anyways, I'm sorry, Ditz. Proceed.
Oh, God. Yeah, so... Ooh, it's going to be one of those shows. So Samoa Joe, seeing a more human side to him. Bart, you're a hypocrite.
He is, isn't he? He's a jerk. He's a sniveling coward.
Very much so. But it's good to see him back on Raw. I mean, I did think he was going to stay as a babyface when he confronted Sami Zayn backstage, but they had their match. And then straight away, as soon as he won, he turned back on the crowd. That is a big thumbs up from me. That is a highlight for me. What do you think of Joe, guys?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It was...
No, I will say about it, Mojo. He was very good. At the end, he told the fans they were a bunch of jerks. I love that. That is very right. They are the jerks.
Well, I don't feel it's right that a wrestler should be like saying those types of things about us, the fans. We're the ones that are buying the shirt.
Shut your mouth. Just because you are a little dork does not mean everybody has to be. That is right. Shut your mouth. This Mojo is fantastic now. I love him.
Now, you guys, I'm sure, will understand this better than anybody else. So it's probably good that I've actually got you guys. Well, I didn't ask you to come on. You just barged your way in. But with the Miz and the Dolph segment, match aside, the match was decent, but the stuff after the match is what was the highlight for me. Dolph Ziggler berating Miz to come back down to the ring and give him some more punishment. Now that sounds like something that you two do together. So what are your thoughts on that?
I actually have I have a lot of experience with similar situations, but I would never taunt Boris.
That is right. He would never taunt me. It would be the end of the part.
Yeah, whenever Boris gets mad, I mean, yeah, he does. We fight sometimes. I don't do much fighting.
That's right. You sit there like a little jerk. That is very right.
Well, I mean, I'm not a fighter. That's true.
You are not a lover either. That's true, too.
All right. For the love of God.
Well, that's what they want to know. That's right.
Well, you do live up to the super short side of your name, that's for sure.
That's very good. That is right.
Oh, God. So, yeah, we got Ziggler coming, berating Miz to come back down. Miz delivered another skull-crushing finale on him. Great. I'm loving this new direction for Ziggler. It started at SummerSlam with Goldberg. He called him back down to the ring twice, which probably meant Vince had to pay Goldberg even more money just for showing up a few more extra minutes. So that's probably actually why he's continued with this like new gimmick of punishment as a result of WWE having to pay Goldberg an extra $3 million for appearing for another 2.5 minutes of airtime. But I'm actually enjoying it. I like this new side of Ziggler, and I've been enjoying his stuff for a couple of weeks now. But I want to go into something that isn't as menial as Dolph Ziggler just calling somebody back down. This stuff has been really, really good recently, and has been in the past as well with their feud on SmackDown Live. Andrade versus Rey Mysterio this week, 2 out of 3 falls. Surprising stuff, because Andrade won 2 straight falls over a legend in Rey Mysterio. Guys, what is that all about?
Andrade is one of the...
Do not, you pronounce the name wrong. It is the Andrade. It is not what you say.
All right, for the love of God, nobody understands a word you say, and you're going to tell me how to pronounce Andrade?
That's right.
All right, whatever. Andrade is seriously Andrade. Is that good?
That's all right. It's not that great.
All right. Well, Andrade is seriously one of the most talented stars in the WWE for certain. And Rey Mysterio, he seems to be losing a step, to me anyways.
I think so too. I do not ever agree, but I think it might be the time for the Rey to hang up the little mask on the pole. That's right.
Well, I don't think that I necessarily want him to retire, but yeah, it just doesn't seem like Rey has that same pop anymore. But whenever he wrestles Andrade, it's pretty sweet. They do have some pretty nice spots, but
that's true. They are very good match. I love the match. That is good match. I do not like when he rip off the mask of the Mysterio. That is very bad.
Yeah, that was too far. I wasn't expecting that. I mean, I've seen Rey's face a million times.
You have seen Rey's face?
Yeah, Boris.
What does that mean? I do not like that at all. How do you see the face of the Mysterio?
Well, for the longest time, he didn't wear it in WCW.
I do not believe you. You are a lying jerk.
All right. Well, anyways, I don't even know what to say. I love Andrade.
It is the Andrade. Get the name right, you little jerk.
At least we agree that Andrade's great. So there's that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see what direction they go in now. Andrade winning this whole feud, actually. He's won every single match against Mysterio on the Raw side of things. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes on the card following this. But Rey Mysterio, we saw him backstage after it. He looked a little bit upset that how is he going to provide for his family if he keeps losing, blah, blah, blah. It'll be interesting to see where that goes. But Andrade...
That is true. That makes me very sad. That is not right. That makes me sad for the Raymond Maestro. That is his name.
No, it's not even close.
That is what we will call him from now on, the Raymond Maestro. I love that name. He could be a great star with his name.
No, God almighty, Boris, shut up.
Maybe that's what he needs.
They need to change the name. That is exactly like the Ricochet.
No, no one knows what you're talking about. His name is Ricochet.
It is not. It is a Ricochet. The Ricochet needs to wear an eye patch or something to make him a little more interesting. I think he should wear the patch, and then they can be called the patch. That is very right.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, Boris.
Are you sure that's what you want to say? You want to embarrass me in front of my friend that it's on the wrestling podcast?
He's not your friend.
He is more my friend than he is yours. That is for very right.
Hey, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. So that leads us into Drew versus Cedric Alexander, which was my favorite TV match of the week until we saw something happen on SmackDown, which we'll get into a little bit later, unfortunately still with you, Bart. But Drew versus Cedric was unbelievable. Cedric is in the midst of a mini push. People have been knocking on this mini feud between Drew and Cedric for a while now, saying it did nothing for either of them, but this match kind of silenced the doubters. Drew looked absolutely great.
opposite Cedric, and obviously picking up the win in the end as well. And Cedric's performance in the match was crazy. I mean, he hit the lumbar check on the outside. He hit Spanish flies to Drew. I mean, Drew taking a Spanish fly was amazing.
Cedric is unbelievable. He is. But Drew, honestly, he doesn't do anything for me. He's a huge bully.
He is very good. He looks like a wrestler. He does not look like a little girl.
Dude, don't say that.
That is right. He is not a small man. He's a big man. He looks like a wrestler.
Superstar.
It is wrestler. I cannot stand when you say that. If you say the superstar, when I say wrestler ever again, I will punch you in the face.
All right, but that's what they call him. You're not allowed to call him the other thing.
It's like, I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's like Shaun of the Dead. You can't call them zombies. Huh? So it's kind of like that.
Yeah, Boris, that's perfect analogy. I absolutely love that. Yes, they are what I said they are.
What did they say?
They're super.
Shut your mouth. That's right.
But no, great match between Drew and Cedric. Hopefully, this means that Cedric will move on to better things. They'll maintain his little push that he's got going on. And hopefully, as well, it means Drew is going to be pushed up the card where he belongs, because he is a great wrestler.
That is right.
Yes,
Wrestler
Boris.
is a big man.
Whatever, guys. I mean, you call him whatever you want, but if Vince hears this...
If Vince hears this, he will think you are a jerk. That is right.
I'm sending you a fist bump through the airways, Boris.
I love that. That's better, right?
And a middle finger to you, Bart.
Yeah, that's nothing new. Boris is giving that to me right this second, actually.
Two of them. Look, there's the other one right there, right behind it. You jerk.
Right, guys. I'm actually going to let you guys kick off with this one, because this thing was huge. Sasha Banks is back.
She is back. It is very right.
All right, Boris, do not be creepy about anything that happens here in this conversation. Do you understand?
I do. That is very good. They are the good superstars.
There you go. That's better.
They come out, they fight, they take off the wig, the purple wig. She had the blue underneath.
It was nice. It was pretty sweet. I actually could tell that she had something going on. It was weird. It was like she had a little...
You did not know. Shut your mouth. I like that. But I also...
Boris, don't do it.
I love the Becky Lynch, the mains outfit. Her new outfit is fine.
All right, Boris. Everybody knows exactly what you're talking about. You don't need to go into detail.
Oh, I think I do. That is a better right outfit.
All right. The chair shots that was delivered to the back of the man were brutal. They were super awful. And I think there was one time she got her in the back of the head. I wouldn't be surprised if Sasha gets a little bit of a fine there.
A fine? That is not right. It was wrestling. It is not anything coward, little tiddlywinks. This is a good wrestling match.
Boris, it wasn't even a match. He attacked her with a chair.
That is a good match to me. I can attack you with a chair right now if you want me to.
All right. Let's not get ridiculous.
I mean, if you do that, then please film it, because I'd love to see that.
That would be very nice.
No, it wouldn't, Boris. Don't. Please, he will do it. You do not understand how many times I've been coming around the corner just to be smashed in the face with a urine-filled balloon by Boris.
I love the urine balloon. That is my best move, that's for sure.
I'm very happy to see Sasha back. I'm going straight for Becky Lynch as well, which is absolutely fine in my book. Avoid the Dana Brooks and the Alicia Foxes of the division and just go straight to the top where she belongs. At me, Twitter, for that. At me. I know there's a lot of people that are going to complain and moan that where's she been for the last 4 months, blah, blah, blah. But I'm happy that she's back, and I'm happy that she's at the top. And then my final...
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be absolutely awesome, but I do know that...
I will say one thing. I love the Natty. I wish the Queen of the Hearts, the Pink and the Black Texas Back Jack would have won at the SummerSlam. I love the Natty.
I know. You love Natty because you hate Brett, but just...
No, that is not why.
Well, I know it has something to do with it.
No, I love the Natty. She is a fantastic star.
Well, I'm glad that that's over with because it was awful. Awful, Boris.
Do not say that. This is not nice.
Oh, you guys. So... Last highlight for me, when it comes to Raw, was Braun Strowman seemingly having a little bit of relevance once again, entering into the Universal title picture, it would seem, because he handed the belt over to Seth after they fought off the OC, the original club, the official club, the
Orange Club, whatever you want to call them.
I call them the Bold Club. They are bold. That is very bold.
Boris, they would kill you if they heard you say something like that.
Well, what did I think? That AJ Styles, he has the little girl head.
All right, Boris, stop it. God almighty, stop saying things like that.
All right, but it is true, the Bold Club, that's right.
I mean, AJ has a nice set of hair.
Yeah, it's fairly nice.
For a 13-year-old girl, it is very right.
Oh, my gosh.
But no, it is good to see Braun. He's meandered around doing nothing for the last couple of months, and people have soured on him.
Braun is a big man. He is a big star, a big man. I think he is going to beat that sniveling coward, the Rollins. He has beat him around the building. The big man, the Brock, he does not get his title back. I'm very sad about that.
Boris is so upset that Brock doesn't get a title shot against Seth Rollins. Boris, it's just the way that it goes. No more beef. What do you think of that, Boris?
Do not taunt me. It will be the last thing you ever do.
All right, you're right. Sorry.
But that was Raw, and I thought it was a pretty good show.
Yeah, I liked it a lot, actually. There were some parts that weren't so great, but yeah.
And the part with Sami Zayn, I hate the Jay's Haynes man, the Sami Zayn.
All right, nobody knows what you're talking about.
They know what I mean. I do not like that man.
Okay, I actually have to go against you, Boris, on that one. I love Sami Zayn's crazy entrance and his weird dad dancing that he does. I'm all for that.
He looks like the Bailey balloon. That is right.
Boris, that's right. Boris actually brought something to my attention the other day. He said that Sami Zayn looks just like Bailey's balloon man, and actually he does a little bit.
That is right. Sami Zayn comes out and they put a hat on the balloon. That's right.
Yeah, just dress him up in different coloured morph suits every week, and yeah, you've got it about right.
That is right. He looks just like the Sami Zayn.
Now, as we always do on this show, we read a couple of tweets out from the people of the Twitterverse, the Twitter machine, and you guys are going to respond to them this week. So I'm going to take a back seat and just let you respond.
Oh, that's awesome! Thanks, Ditch. It sounds like that you maybe don't hate us appearing on the show. Is that
Do not get overexcited. That is when people start to hate your guts.
All right, well, I'm just asking, Boris. I can ask, right?
Go ahead. You ask the dates. I know the answer. You ask.
I'm reserving judgment until we hit the end of SmackDown. We got a long way to go. So Scott, legit Scott, a fan account, said that Sasha Banks is back to run her division.
Well, I mean, that's kind of true, but, I mean, the man is pretty awesome. Sasha Banks has been crying on the internet for the past couple of months.
That is not right. Sasha Banks, she was hurt, I think. That's right.
No, Boris, she wasn't hurt. I told you all about this before. She was whining and crying.
Do not say that. It is her division. I think she is going to come back, and she is going to take the title off the man.
Well, we'll see. But as far as I'm concerned, this is a man's house. That's right. It's a man's house.
James, another fan account, at Burning Stomp, said, guys, Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch stands are about to go to war. Let's watch this timeline burn. Do you think there's a divide between certain Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks stands? I mean, you guys can probably attest to that.
Well, I think that people honestly are waiting for a reason to boo the man. It's driving me crazy.
I will tell you why. You want to know the reason why they want to boo the man?
Well, Boris, I don't want to boo the man. I love the man.
I like the man's outfit.
All right, stop with the outfit.
Well, I'll tell you why. You want to know why they want to boo the man? Because of that sniveling coward, the Seth Rollins. The Beth Rollins, that's what I will call him, Beth Rollins. That is whenever...
All right, Jess. Boris has been doing this forever. It's whenever Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch combine to make this horrible person, Beth Rollins. That's what Boris does. But, yeah, it's a clear divide for certain.
And the last one, another Sasha Banks related tweet. And I apologize to the guy if I get this wrong. It's at Piero Buccelato. I think that's what it is.
He's actually pronounced Piero Buttiglione. That's right. I know how to say the name. That is a very good man. I like that man.
Yeah, we'll go with that, Boris. He says, it is okay to not be a fan of Sasha Banks. It's okay to be a fan of Sasha Banks. You are entitled to support any wrestler you please, and you are entitled to not like a wrestler. Don't put others down on purpose that are happy about her return. That's just awful.
I love that. That is like my motto in life. You can like whatever you want. I think it's great.
That is not always true. That is not always right.
Well, Boris, I know where you're from. Of course it's not right, but I'm just saying.
That is true. I think anybody could now cheer for whoever they want, except for that sniveling coward, the Sami Zayn.
All right. Jeez, oh, man. I had to know that you were going to go back to Sami Zayn at some point.
That's right, Balloon Man. Not good. That is very right.
But that was the tweets. That was the tweets for Raw. We don't have a voice clip this week. We got let down at the last minute. The guy, hey, this is weird. Let's get your guys' take on this. I had a guy ready to appear on the show, and I won't name drop him because I'm not an asshole, but he was ready to come on the show. Everything was ready to go, and he blocked me on Twitter. Now, everything was fine. Everything was just like, right, okay, you need, right, so he said, do you want to do Raw? He was like, yeah, I'm happy to do Raw. And I said, right, all I need is a 2 to 3 minute voice clip, and just send it to my email when you're ready. When I checked again, blocked. What's that all about?
That is very weird. I will tell them who it was. It was the Hulk Hogan.
Boris, stop with the weird stuff. It wasn't Hulk Hogan, was it?
No, it wasn't Hulk Hogan.
Okay, well, I mean, if it was, that was going to be crazy. But
well, I think that is bad. That is a coward thing to do. If you say you will be there, you be there. That's right. Sometimes I'm a place. I wait for Bart. He does not show up. And I wait around the corner with a urine-filled balloon. That is what this guy deserves. A urine-filled balloon.
It's the worst. It's warm. I don't even know how he gets the urine inside of it, but it's so awful.
I mean, urine-filled balloons are better than any voice clip that guy could have come up with. So I will take that as a substitute.
Oh, Boris is getting one ready right now. Boris, stop it, please.
That is very right.
Well, whilst you guys are throwing piss at each other, we're going to head over to SmackDown now. So, Shane, take it away.
Welcome, everyone, to SmackDown Live.
I am so happy to say that SmackDown, I mean, I'm not saying SmackDown has been bad recently, because it hasn't. It's just been okay. But today marks the return to form for me. This is the first SmackDown I've watched and enjoyed it from start to finish. In about like 2, maybe 3 months, which is good. I like that. It's a breath of fresh air. Maybe Eric Bischoff is finally showing some influence back there. It seems that they're holding off on letting him loose, which is strange. Why bring him in if he's not going to do anything? But there you go. But I really enjoyed SmackDown this week, especially Owens. Owens had a starring role in SmackDown this week. He had 2 segments, and he opened up the show with a nice little heartfelt promo. And I actually thought we'd seen the last of Shane McMahon, but no. Shane McMahon interfered this heartfelt promo. Kevin Owens was saying how great it was to have his family watch him kick Shane's ass at SummerSlam, and then he went on to say that he was going to win the King of the Ring tournament, naming all the legends that have won it before him. And then Shane McMahon came out, and Kevin Owens' reaction told the whole story of how we could relate to Kevin Owens there when he just slumped to the floor. Are you guys fans of Shane?
Well, that's the whole thing. You exactly hit the nail on the head. The reason why SmackDown hasn't been great lately is because of Shane O'Mac.
That is not true. The little Vince can do whatever he wants to do.
I know, Boris. That's the problem. Shane thinks that.
He's the little Vince. I love the little Vince.
All right, fine. Little Vince, he runs crazy. He does. He thinks he's the best wrestler in the world.
Superstar.
Oh, man, you got me, Boris, that time. That was actually pretty good.
That is very good.
But I just think, I don't even know what to say. I truly think that if Shane O'Mac was off of SmackDown Live, then everything would be just fantastic. Kevin Owens stepped up to the plate for all of us fans, and he said what everyone was truly thinking.
That is not true. That bearded man, he better watch what he say to the Shane McMahon. That's right. You better watch it, the bearded man. You better watch.
Well, I think that he said what everyone else was thinking. That's for sure.
I mean, I like Shane in very, very small doses. I like heel Shane. I prefer him to sweaty babyface Shane. And I did enjoy the fine aspect of it. I just didn't expect to see Shane so soon after SummerSlam, because there were rumors that he was going away for a little bit, but those rumors seem to have been squashed straight away.
He's on the show. He's on every show. He's on from beginning to end. And then he puts his face really close to the camera up on the Jumbotron. Nobody wants to see someone's face right smashed up against the camera.
Please tell me that is a joke. Tell me that is a joke. You are a jerk if it is not.
Well, no, Boris, seriously, nobody wants to see someone's face like right inside the camera. It's really off-putting and weird.
I hate your guts. I cannot stand you. Dates, do you know why I cannot stand him?
Because it's Bart.
That's right. I just made it right.
You don't need any other explanation than that.
Made it true.
So we had that. It set up a match later on in the show. It wasn't revealed initially, but it's Kevin Owens versus Samoa Joe, which will happen later on in the show, and we will talk about that. But up next, the biggest highlight, I would say, of SmackDown, and the new favorite TV match of mine this week was Roman Reigns against Buddy Murphy. The first time we've seen Buddy Murphy in a match on SmackDown Live, and boy, did he deliver. He essentially replicated what Cedric did on Raw. And yeah, Bart, he was unbelievable. You are absolutely correct.
I thought he was kind of small. He is a little small man. The big dog throw him around like a little child.
Boris, he is awesome. Boris has this problem. If someone has ever in the history wrestled on 205 Live, they can never wrestle on the main roster. Never.
That is right. They're too small. He should throw him into the crowd.
Well, Boris, he had a fantastic match. It is possible that could be the match of the year. It was so good.
It was a pretty good match, but I think the big dog is too big. Too big, should have thrown the little Buddy man into the crowd. That's right.
I mean, he could.
He could, that's right. He can do that. He should do that.
But Buddy Murphy is pretty strong. Boris, you see him? He's ripped, dude.
That's a little weird you say things like that, but he is a big man, that's true.
I mean, he managed to lift Roman up for a brainbuster.
Yeah, I thought the match was unbelievable. Truthfully, it was 5 stars. It could have been the match of the year, and it might actually be.
And it's definitely going to be up there. Definitely going to be up there. And kudos to Murphy for delivering straight out of the blocks.
Oh, it was his one chance, and he took it. It was his one shot. I'm sure that Vince was back there, and it was his headset on, all angry and sitting there all sweaty and mean. But this was Buddy Murphy's shot, and he took it to the moon.
Here we go. Do not talk about outer space. I cannot stand.
Boris, stop it.
No, here we go with the Star Wars. I cannot stand the Trek in the Stars. I do not like.
Boris, every time I say something about outer space, does not mean I'm going to talk about Star Wars or Star Trek. Leave it alone.
That does not. I listen to Star Wars talk all day, every single day of my life. It is the worst thing in the world.
I mean, I'll put my hands up. I'm a big Star Wars and Star Trek fan.
Awesome. See, that's. I knew that we were going to, ever since the moment that you reached out and invited me on the show, I brought Boris with me. But when you invited me, I knew this was, well, you know what I mean. I mean, it was kind of an invite, right? The first time was an invite, maybe?
Yeah, I don't remember inviting you on.
They never invite him. He did not ask. He is a little jerk. Sit there with his computer like a little nerd.
Well, let's just say at this point, I'm going to consider it an invitation.
I mean, you can consider it what you want, but it ain't an invitation.
Do not worry, Dates. I will take care of him for that. I did not like that. I do not like when he sneaks around.
A double dose of urine balloons for Bart, please.
That's right. I can have 2. That's good. I'll make 2 right now.
Oh, God. He's going to do it.
By the way, guys listening, if you just hear like a big splash and then just a slight foul stench coming through your speakers, if that's even a thing that is possible in the realms of this life, then yes, Boris has launched a piss balloon in Bart's face, and we can all rejoice at the fact when that happens.
It happens like twice a week.
And I'm happy. I think it needs to happen more.
I very agree with that. I can make that happen. I will do that tonight.
Please do.
Lord, he's chugging water right now. This is awful.
Keep chugging. Then we move on to Kevin Owens versus Samoa Joe. It wasn't going to be as straightforward as we would have hoped it would be. Elias is announced as the special enforcer, or a special guest enforcer, whatever the hell he is. He's just somebody in a striped shirt at ringside, pretending to call the shots.
With all due respect to you, Mr. Ditz on the wrestling podcast, you got to give respect to the man in the referee shirt. You got to be nice to him. You cannot push him around. I do not like that. They cannot disrespect the man in the stripes.
Boris, it's Elias. He's a psychopath. He's waiting to hit somebody in the face with a guitar. He is not a referee. I understand. I actually agree. You should respect the referees, but he is not one. He's a crazy person with a scarf and a guitar, and he's looking to hurt somebody.
Well, that is true, but still, he must be respected in the ring.
Boris, oh my gosh, you take everything just too far.
I do not. You are a jerk. Shut your mouth.
Yeah. Elias, not an official. I'm with you. I thought it was a good match between the two of them. Did they face off in NXT before? I'm pretty sure they did. Samoa Joe debuted against Kevin Owens, if I remember rightly, down in NXT. So they do have some history between each other, and I hope there's more to come between the two of them, because I actually really enjoyed the match. Now, Kevin Owens lost because Elias did the quick 3 count. Now, are you still happy with him being an official, Boris, for that atrocious behavior?
It was a little fast, I must say.
A little fast? You think that was oh my gosh.
It was a little fast. Did you not hear what I say?
I heard what you said.
That's right, then you shut your mouth. It was a little fast, that's right. But not that fast.
He's a man. He's not gonna give up. He's not.
I mean, I do prefer him to you at the moment, because at least he had the decency to glitch out of the podcast last week. He pressed the button to get rid of you. So I'm Team Boris.
That's right. I love that button. That's the man. I wish I could do that and he disappeared forever. That's right.
That's not nice, Boris. No matter what, I am here, and I'm not going anywhere, all right?
I've been hearing that for a very long time.
Suffer in silence, my friend. You're going to be suffering in silence.
That's better said.
So yeah, that was Owens versus Joe. Very good stuff. Hopefully we see something more between them two in the future. Then we had a bit of development on the who is trying to murder Roman Reigns storyline. Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan confronted Buddy Murphy backstage, threw him around a lot, bit of bullying, and basically got him to say that he did not, in fact, see Eric Rowan backstage during the tremendous scaffold forklift incident that we oh so loved.
I do not like when they attack the big dog. Whoever attack the dog, he is in a very big trouble. That is for sure. The dog has the most enormous yard in the world, and he will destroy this attacking man. That's for better, right?
Boris, oh God. I don't even know what to say, because every time I say you know whose name, you flip out.
That's right. You are not allowed to say the big dog. Do not even say the name. That's right. Whoever attacked the dog, he's in a very big trouble, that's for sure.
Who do you think attacked him?
I think it was the Joe Smo. That's right, with the bad wig.
Boris, Samoa Joe already... It's not a wig. How many times do I have to tell you? Samoa Joe does not wear a wig. That's his real hair. I don't know why he wears it that way, but that's his real hair.
That is not true. That is a wig. I know a wig when I see one. That's right.
Oh, it looks kind of like...
My teacher in school used to let me play with his wig at the recess. That's right, I know what a wig is like.
That sounds
That's
a bit
so
dodgy.
weird. I don't even know what to say about that. It's so strange.
It is true. We use it as a frisbee in the yard. We throw it around.
That's very strange, Boris. God almighty, I'm so sorry, Ditch. I'm so sorry that he's here.
Yeah. I'm kind of wondering what school you were going to there, Boris. That seems a little bit strange.
We liked the wig. It was a very nice inside. Play with the wig and we throw it around. It was very cool. Very good.
I mean, I hope you're going to say the wig was part of his head rather than anywhere else.
Oh, yeah, it's better. That is very right.
I got that, Ditch. I like it.
What? Do not make fun. Are you making fun of me?
No, I'm not. All right.
I would never make fun.
That is true. I should know that. That is true. Very good.
Yeah, so I'll be interested to see who this surprise attacker is going to be. Apparently, Daniel Bryan has some information, which we will find out next week, but who knows what that is going to be. But I look forward to seeing it. Then we head into the main event segment of SmackDown Live. Initially supposed to just be a standard tag match between the New Day and the Revival, but Randy Orton came out calling Kofi Kingston a coward for running away, blah, blah, blah. It set up a 6-man tag, so Kofi got in on the action, and then Randy joined the Revival. It was a decent match, some nice back and forth, but ultimately the Revival scored the victory with a shatter machine on Xavier Woods, and then we hit the RKO party. And I'm always a sucker for an RKO, I really am.
I love the RKO. It is very archaic. It's very good with the O. I love it very much. He is a superstar, that is for sure. Randy Orton should be the world heavyweight champion of the Universal world.
All right. That's not even what it's called, but it was a little hard for me because I love the Revival. I love Randy Orton, and I love the New Day.
I love the New Day. My favorite in the New Day is the Big E. With the very big main bosoms. I love him. He is the best star in the New Day. He's very good.
He is awesome. He's so funny, and everything he does, he is a great... The New Day is phenomenal. They will be in the Hall of Fame someday. I know it.
His bosoms should be in the Hall of Fame. Just the bosoms. That's right, the bosoms.
I mean, he has a nice set of man pecs, it has to be said.
They are very nice.
That's so weird, Boris. You don't know how weird that sounds.
I know how weird it is. Very right.
Hey, I'm all about weird on this podcast, so if you want to be talking about Big E's tricep meat or his big machine gun jubblies, you crack on and talk about them.
That is very good, like the jubbly. That is a good word. Very good word.
You can use that. You can take the word jubblies with you. You could use that with Becky Lynch if you so desire.
Oh, that is a very good outfit. You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Boris, stop it. You can't say things like that. It's 2019. Stop it.
That's a very good outfit.
But that was SmackDown. Yeah, it was a really good show, and it ended well. Like I said, I'm a sucker for an RKO, so to see 4 RKOs close the show, that is a win in my book. So SmackDown, great show this week, and hopefully both Raw and SmackDown can continue this momentum into next week. And of course, we have some more tweets, which you guys are going to react to once again. And you won't be surprised to see that pretty much all of them are to do with the best match on TV this week. Or you could actually argue it was the best match in wrestling, in the main roster-wise anyway, because NXT TakeOver, there were some great matches down there. But tweets, here we go. Hairy Wrestling Fan. He tweeted, Buddy Murphy has one match on SmackDown Live, and everyone goes crazy for it, making Buddy look like a star in the process. No idea why it had to take 4 months to get to that point, but I'm so happy he's finally getting that chance to blow people's minds.
That's true. I 100% agree.
The only reason this hairy man, he likes the Buddy Murphys, because Buddy Murphy is also very hairy.
He is hairy, but I don't think that's the reason why. Buddy Murphy is an awesome star, and he's going to shoot to the moon.
Do not do the moon. Do not.
All right, sorry, forget it. I didn't say it.
Team Star Wars.
Yes, exactly. That's awesome.
I do not like that. That's no good.
Josh Robinson, my co-host of Ditz vs. Josh, he said, and this is in reference to Buddy Murphy, losing does not mean jobbing. Bear in mind he said this in caps, so he's passionate about this. The biggest pet peeve I have in wrestling.
Wow, well, that's honestly, I actually like that.
This is his job. The wrestling is the job of this man. What does he mean?
Boris, oh my gosh, I don't know how many times I have to tell you this. Jobbing means, like, you know how there's jobbers?
I do know the jobbers. That's right. Paid wrestlers. That's right. But what do you mean?
It's like it would take too long for me to explain wrestling slogans and jargon to him, so let's just skip past it because Boris will go on all night not knowing what his job is, or a word, or kayfabe, any of that. He has no idea.
Do not make up words. If you make up words, I will punch you in the face. That's better, right?
Richie Ricardo said, I need about 100 matches between Roman Reigns and Buddy Murphy ASAP.
Very true. It was a good match. That's true. Better, right?
It was. I agree 100%. It's very odd that Boris and I actually agree on something.
I do not like it. It means something weird. You're about to ask for something or something. I do not like this.
I don't know, but we agree. Absolutely.
Then this one doesn't. Oh no, it does actually involve Buddy Murphy, but it's more of a generalization about SmackDown. Jack Watson says SmackDown was quality this week. Buddy Murphy versus Roman Reigns was great. That was a match of the night. The 6-man main event was also a great match. Kevin Owens owning SmackDown recently, and I love that a lot. Not sure about him getting fined though. It's a piss take.
He got the fine. He got a fine. That is right. Little Ben say he got the fine. He should get a fine.
Boris, these fines are not even real.
What? I do not like that.
Boris, they're not paying $100,000. You think that they're really doing that?
I do. Do not say the little Benz is a liar. He should fine you for that. You are a sniveling coward, jerk.
They're not real, Boris. They're not real.
Do not say that. I do not like when you say things like that.
Wrestling's real, guys.
Well, I mean, yes, in an aspect, but like they're not paying out these huge fines, that's for sure.
That is true. You know better. They do pay the fine. Is that right? They pay the fines.
$105,000, I believe it was.
That is a good fine. He should pay it today.
I mean, if he's got the money. Not many people have that kind of stuff lying around.
I know I sure don't, but he'll never get it. He'll never, ever get it.
Do not say what I will get. I do not like that either. Do not say what I will ever get, you jerk.
And finally, Just Chris says, when it comes to the non-NXT crew, I'm pretty sure Roman Reigns and Buddy Murphy had the best WWE match in Toronto this past week.
Well, that's a bit of a stress. There was a ton of awesome wrestling this week.
It is called the entertainment of the sports. Do not do that. Do you like that? That's a very good one. That's right.
Oh, guy. All right. You're paying me back for superstars. Fine. Whatever. But, I mean, to say it was the best match, I think it's a little bit of a stretch. But, I mean, hey, to each their own. You never know. I mean, if he thought it was the best, then it was the best.
I think the best match was the match with the Rollins and the Brock man, the big man, except for the fact that Brock lost. He should have kicked off his head into the crowd.
All right. Enough. Boris is still super mad that Seth Rollins is the Universal Champion.
I'm very angry. Very, very sad, too.
He seems to have turned a corner, though. He's got the fans back on side.
We'll see. As long as Boris likes to say, Beth Rollins stays out of the picture, then yeah, I think Seth Rollins can get back on track.
He cannot. Not as long as he is playing the hopscotch with the Beth Rollins. That is no good. No good at all.
I mean, do you guys play hopscotch with each other?
Yes, we do. It's true. Bart, you can tell him.
Well, Boris, I didn't think you would want people to know that, but yes, we do, actually.
I like that image.
That's right. I beat him every time, every single time.
And hey, if you lose, at least you've got piss-filled balloons to retaliate.
I have one right here waiting for the end of the show in the face. That's very good.
But that was the SmackDown tweets. We do have a voice clip for SmackDown, which is coming up very, very shortly. But we need to get rid of Bart before that happens. I mean, I'll be honest. You've won me over.
Wow, nobody ever says that. That's great.
His mother does not even say that. That's right.
Wow, I'm excited.
I'm going to press it. Should I press the button? Should I get rid of this sniveling jerk?
I mean, not just yet.
All right, I have the button ready to go. You say when, I'll press it in his face.
Don't get me wrong, I don't want Bart to ever appear on this thing ever again. But it hasn't been as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Hey, I'll take that. That is the best compliment that anybody ever gives me. That's the only one, too, but I love it. That's fantastic.
You do not have an open invitation, however, to glitch back into this show again.
That was totally an accident.
It was not an accident. I sat here and watched him try around in different places. He is no good. He's a bad man.
I've already warned a couple of podcasts that you guys might be swimming around, trying to break into their shows. They're aware.
You have to know their IP address. If you do, you can just email them to me, and I'll make sure that I don't go to those ones.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Do not give him anything ever. He is a jerk. Do not do it.
Well, I would actually say thank you for joining me, but you were the guys who barged in to the show, so I didn't really have a choice. I had a really good guest lined up, and you've just kind of completely mugged him off.
Oh, yeah, that was an accident as well. I was just stumbling around.
That's a lie. Do not believe him. That is a big lie.
So I have to go and personally apologize to this guy. So it looks bad on me.
Well, I definitely will not do it again.
He is crossing his fingers. I look in his hand right now. He's lying to your face.
I could feel that you were crossing your fingers there. I could sense it through the microphone.
Boris, don't you see what I'm trying to...
Shut your mouth, you're a jerk.
But genuinely, though, it has been a lot of fun having you on the Dits on Wrestling podcast.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it so much, and I hope that we'll get invited back again. That would be fantastic.
And hell, who am I to control your hacking ways? You'll probably just push your way back onto the show anyway, regardless of whether I want it or not.
You can invite me. I'll tell this jerk to come along. That's right.
Right, thank you very much, guys, for appearing. And now we are going to head into our voice clip for SmackDown, and that is the standing streamer. So take it away.
This is Dits on Wrestling. I'm the standing streamer, and this is my SmackDown stance. First SmackDown after SummerSlam, live from Toronto, kicks off with Kevin Owens talking about his big win over Shane McMahon. A very passionate promo, using words like hitting McMahon with a stunner. Talks about the King of the Ring that's back, how he's going to win it, how he looked up to all these previous winners. Shane comes out, blah, blah, blah. Owens is fine. Commercial break, comes back. Owen trashes his TV. Then we have Flair versus Ember Moon. No entrances for either lady. That was disappointing. Match was given a lot of time, but I was not impressed. Typical Roman attack video package. Then Eric Rowan, Daniel Bryan come out, say they're innocent. They were falsely accused. They're going to prove that tonight. Up next, another promo. This one with Aleister Black sitting in what looks to be a broom closet. I don't know. He has a whole who's gonna knock on my door, who has the balls, basically. Then we have the big match, a lot of promotion, Roman Reigns versus Buddy Murphy. If you didn't know Buddy Murphy before this match, you're gonna know him after the match. And in the wise words of Bully Ray from Busted Open, Roman went over and Buddy got over. Then we have back-to-back promos, one by the Revival, one by the New Day, blah, blah, blah. Samoa Joe, who stepped up to the plate, he's going to face Kevin Owens tonight. Elias is the special referee. What do you think happens? You know what happens. Elias screws Owens. They all run to the back, blah, blah, blah. And then we have Daniel Bryan, Kevin Rowan. They're going to confront Buddy Murphy in the back, just like Roman did last week. and they confront him. They basically bully him. Buddy Murphy says he lied, and then Daniel Bryan says, "I hate liars." Eric Rowan beats him up. Finally, New Day vs. Revival come out. Orton interrupts it, cuts a very truthful promo on Kofi Kingston, how he ran away and he gave up and he was scared in front of his wife and his kids. Turns into a big, awesome Teddy Long 6-man match, which was amazing. Ended with Randy Orton standing in the middle of the ring, 3 RKO'd New Day members, crowd chanting one more time. Phenomenal. Then quickly to a Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, Eric Rowan face-to-face confrontation. Hopefully they let that angle slow burn. And that's what I have for this week on SmackDown. I give it maybe 3, whatever you want to say. Insert your star or whatever. 3. Thank you very much. Dits on Wrestling. Peace.
And that was the standing streamer with his take on SmackDown this week. Cool guy. Love to get him back on in a better capacity as an actual guest at some point in the future. I think that would be a lot of fun. But that was SmackDown. And now that we've got rid of Boris and Bart, I mean, admittedly, they won me over in the end, even though they're 2 absolute idiots. They've won me over. So big props to them for hacking in the first place and having the balls to do so. So thank you for coming on, gentlemen. But we do have time for a Q&A before we wrap things up tonight. I say tonight. You could be listening to this during the day. So today, before we wrap things up today. So we have a couple of questions from you guys. Tybo Ledson, who is the owner of SLTD Wrestling, where I do my fan art of the week every week and part of their podcast network. Big things going on over there. He has thrown a question my way this week. What do you honestly see the first year of The Fiend looking like? Ooh. See, it's a tough one because I always have in the back of my mind that WWE are going to mess this up. I think that's just the natural course to take when you do come across stuff like this. But judging how well they've run with The Fiend and, Bray Wyatt as a whole since the Firefly Funhouse, I'm actually quite optimistic that this is going to work out well for him. He didn't appear on Raw or SmackDown this week. And, a lot of people were kicking off about it, but I do like the idea that The Fiend and Bray are now a special attraction. Because if you get The Fiend out every single week, wrestling or, taking people out, whatever, I think it will slowly, and it wouldn't be fast, it would be a slow process. It would slowly start to kill off the aura of that character. So I think he will remain a special attraction going forward. But as far as his year goes, I think we're going to see Demon versus The Fiend at some point. And I think he's going to hand the Demon his first loss in the company. I genuinely believe that's the case. I mean, it's really hard to say. He's not a character that needs a title as such. But I know he's going to have a very, very strong year, and I know the fans are going to stick behind him because this thing that they've got going on right now is absolute money. So, yeah, feuds with Balor, Aleister Black, a couple of, maybe mid-card baby faces, Cedric maybe, Ricochet, those kind of guys. That could be a lot of fun. So much potential with this character. So much potential. I think he's going to have a really good, strong first year. And we'll revisit this question in 1 year's time because, of course, I will remember and see how he's done. Callum Owen asked, do I think Gargano gets called up to the main roster soon? And if he does, do you want to see him versus AJ for the US title as his first feud? I do think he's going to get called up very soon. He did have a stint on the main roster slightly when he was North American champion with Ciampa. So he's already kind of been there, but it seemed like a pointless inclusion. But after his TakeOver match, we had the whole thank you Johnny thing going on. You know, it seemed like it was going to be the last time that we see him in NXT. Whether he gets an official send-off on the first round of tapings for the new round of NXT, might get that, who knows, but he will be on the main roster very, very soon, I can imagine, because he's achieved all he can achieve in NXT, really. So, logical step is to jump up. As for AJ Styles, what better way to start your main roster run with a match against AJ Styles? I mean, if he wins, that would be absolutely incredible. But I think because of how saying that, it depends how the audience perceive him on the main roster. Because NXT fans, we know him, we love him, but I don't know if casual fans will know who he is, and that worries me slightly because he could take a loss against AJ, say in NXT, and he would be completely fine. But with the casual viewers who maybe don't know who he is, I think they might just go, here's a guy that's coming up to lose. But, I mean, it's AJ Styles, for God's sake, you know? There's no harm in losing to AJ Styles. I'm not going to think any less of Johnny for losing to him. Ricochet, he lost his series with him recently. I don't think any less of Ricochet. It's AJ Styles. The man is phenomenal. Of course you're not always going to beat him. But I think Johnny versus AJ, US title, I think that would be brilliant. I really do. So maybe it'll happen. That'd be a lot of fun. But they're the only questions that I had this week. Of course, keep those questions coming. They don't have to be wrestling related. They can be anything. Use the opportunity to get to know me. You know, you spend all this time listening to me every week. So just get to know the man behind the microphone. Yeah. Cringe. But yeah, that's all the questions we have. Keep them coming. Obviously, I'll put up the post before the episode anyway, just to give you a reminder to get your questions in. But that is it. What a jam-packed show this was. Hopefully next week we won't get so close to the two-hour mark again. And I know how hard it is to listen to the podcast of that length. But hey, it was NXT and SummerSlam. What could I do? What could I do? And of course we had Boris and Bart on as well, which was a lot of fun. But that is the end of the show today. And I hope that you had a great time listening to it as much as I loved putting it together. This is probably actually my favorite episode that I've done so far. And honestly, a lot of that goes to the guys over at the Super Short Report, Boris and Bart. As much as I hate the fact that they hacked in to my show, it was a lot of fun, so I appreciate that. So thank you to them for coming on. Thank you for, I pick the tweets that come on the show, so people aren't tweeting at me to come on the show. So thank you for letting me steal your tweets for those who are included today. And of course, the standing streamer, thank you very much for your voice clip that you provided. Not so thank you to the person who mugged me off for my Raw voice clip this week. You are blacklisted. But there we go. That was the show. That was the show for this week. Next week we got. I've got something good lined up. Hopefully we can work it out. But you can find me on social media: Twitter, Instagram @DidSomeWrestling, and then all the podcast directories you can think of. I am there. But that is episode 16 in the bag. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you next week.